in today's class, we'll discuss types of various other loops and we'll try to compare them and see with other programming languages. Okay, so these are the 4 kinds of loops that we are seeing here. The same loops, but based on the criteria, we are just categorizing them. The first one is the entry controlled loop, which is also called as pretest loop. Examples of the pretest loop are while and for loop. The second kind of loops are the exit control loops. Exit control loops are also called as post-test loop. And examples of this particular exit control loop is the do while. I want all of you to listen carefully. In Python, there is no do while loop. Okay, so there is no exit control loop. We only have the entry control loop. And the next one is the counter control loop. Counter control loops are also called as definite repetition loops. And the next one is the condition control loop. The condition control loops are also called as sentient controlled or indefinite loops. Okay, so these are the 4 kinds of loop. Now first we'll try to compare the pre-test loop and the post-test loop. Now what happens in the pre-test loop is, first the condition is checked. If the condition is true, then the body of the loop is executed. Else the control goes to the immediate next statement after the loop. So here the point is the loop execution depends on a condition. If the condition is true, then only the loop will execute. So this is what is called as pretest. If the condition has evaluated to be false, the statements inside the loop will never execute. Okay, so the execution of these statements will entirely depend on the condition. So such kind of loops are called as pretest loop. So next, coming to the exit control loops. You can create exit control loops also by using this while in Python. Now exit control loop is where like the statements are, the condition is given at the bottom of the statements. So whenever the statements inside the loop will execute at least once, even if the condition fails. Okay, so such kind of loops are called as exit control. At least once the statements will execute, then after that the condition is checked. If the condition is false, then is immediate next statement after the loop will execute, else the loop will iterate till the condition becomes false. So that's the difference between the pre-test and the post-test loops. Okay, now coming to the number of tests that happens in the pre-test, it is n+1. Yesterday I have shown you to print 5 numbers, 6 tests have been taken place. So which is n+1. And for the post-test, only n number of tests will happen. And the statements executed, n statements can execute. And then loop control variable is updated n times. And loop control variable in the post-test is also updated n times. And the minimum iterations will be 0. If the condition is false, the iterations are 0. Even if the condition is false, the number of iterations will be 1. So this is the difference between pre-test and post-test loop. Now comparing the counter control loop and the condition control loop. Okay, so what is meant by counter control loop? Counter control loop means that there will be a counter which is also called as loop control variable. The loop variable will be initialized, then it is tested against some condition, and then it is updated to perform the loop operation. So this is called as definite repetition loop. Okay, so the initialization, test of the condition, and updation will take place. Okay, so this is what is called as counter controlled loop, and you will be knowing here the number of executions. Okay, so when we know the number of times the loop should execute in advance, when you know that okay, it should execute for 5 times or 7 times or 10 times, then you will be choosing counter controlled loops. Okay, so that's why we are saying it is definite repetition loop. Okay, so if the number of executions are indefinite, okay, so then we'll be going with the other one. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, so this is an example over here wherein I said I is equal to 0. So the initialization have taken place, and this is the condition check, and this is the increment and the decrement that is happening. So here it will print the numbers from 0 to 10. Okay, right. So the next one is condition control loop. Condition control loop is where The number of executions you won't be knowing because that is based on some condition internally. Okay, for example, so just consider this example over here, wherein I have initialized the variable, I have given some test condition, I have given some increment and decrement, but I have given another condition inside it. Okay, so the execution of the loop will depend on this condition. If I is becoming 6, then I said break. What does it mean by break? Break will come out of immediate while loop. Okay, so it will come out of the loop. So the next iterations will not happen. Okay, so the next iterations will not happen. So here the loop is depending on some condition. So that kind of concepts are called as condition control loop. When we do not know the number of times loop should execute in advance, then we use condition control loop. This I over here, this condition can be taken from something else also. Like you can say some expression which has evaluated and given some result. Based on the result, you are deciding whether the loop should execute further or not. So such kind of concepts are called as condition control loop. And here the sentinel is that which will decide whether the loop execution should happen or not. So here, in what kind of programs you will be choosing condition control loop? Okay, so the condition control loops are decided in an infinite loop. Say you want to execute the loop many times, and when the user enters -1, you want to exit the loop. Okay, in such kind of cases like menu driven programs, we write menu driven programs, right? You want to execute the menu n number of times till the user gives some particular value. When the user gives some exit value, then you will come out of the loop. In that cases, you will be giving condition control loops. Okay, so based on your requirement, you will be choosing whether to give condition control or counter control loop. The number of executions, this I already explained it to you. Okay, so the number of executions, if you know in advance, then you will be choosing counter control. If you don't know in advance and if it is depending on some condition, you will be choosing condition control loop. Okay, so here we'll call that as a counter. Here we'll call it as a sentinel variable. Okay, right. So the next concept is nested loops. Okay, so what is meant by nested loops, and do Python support nested loops? Yes, Python supports nested loop. What is a nested loop? Nested loop means one loop inside another one. How many number of nested loops you can have? No limit for number of nesting levels. Okay, so you can have while inside a while, and again that while inside a while, and so on. Okay, you can have n number of nestings of the loop. Okay, so nesting of while and nesting for loop, both are permitted. Okay, and so we'll see nesting of for is the most common one because everything is in a single place and it is very easy for you to control the nesting of the for. Coming to the while the initialization is somewhere, the condition is somewhere, the increment and decrement is somewhere. So in that case, it is very difficult for you. In case if there are so many nestings, it is very difficult for you to control it. Okay, for is very easy. So generally, we'll nest for. Okay, so what is the inner loop and the outer loop? Okay, so the inner loop is the number of statements that will repeat. The outer loop will decide on how many times that the inner loop should execute. So that is the outer loop and the inner loop. For example, I'm having an outer for and then I have an inner for. Okay, so the inner for will be having some set of statements which will be executed for this particular for. Okay, so the outer loop will decide how many times this inner for loop will execute. Okay, so that's a concept. Anyway, we'll see with an example. And proper indentation should be given. Okay, so to nest the loops, you should give proper indentation like how we have been giving for nesting of ifs and all that. In the similar way, you have to give indentation, proper indentation. Okay, so this is an example of nested while. So I have given two programs, one for nested while and one for nested for. So here I'm asking you, I have written this program to print prime numbers from 1 to 20. Okay, so I'm printing the prime numbers from 1 to 20. Okay, so I have taken it from 2. Okay, so 2 is the only even prime, so I am taking it from 2. Okay, and this is the condition. I'm saying I is less than 20. And then I have made j is equal to 2 to test for, I already explained to you how a prime number is decided. A prime number is the one which is divisible by 1 and itself only. So what you will do is every number is divisible by 1 and itself. So you will be checking for the other numbers from 2 to n minus 1. And if any one of the numbers between 2 to n minus 1 divides the number, then it is not a prime, else it is a prime. So we just have applied the same strategy and decided that I is prime and I is not prime. Okay, so this while is checked, and then this while it comes to this particular while. First, the outer while will take 2. Okay, so now what happens is, inside the inner while, what happens is the outer while is setting j to 2. Okay, so now what happens here is j is set to 2, and now in the inner while this particular j is checked whether it is prime or not. Okay, so j is checked whether this is prime or not. After printing that 2 is prime, what happens is the inner while breaks and it goes to the outer while, and now j is set to 3. Okay, now again the inner loop. So j is taking a new value which is 3, and now the inner loop will be executed to check whether 3 is prime or not. So once it is printing 3 is prime, what happens is it again goes to the outer while. Okay, and sets the value of j to 4. Okay, since the value of j is set to 4, and the inner loop will check whether 4 is prime or not. Since 4 is not prime, it is not printed. I didn't write a print statement here. If you want, you can write a print statement saying that 4 is not prime. But the question is print the prime numbers. So I just have printed the prime numbers. So you understood here, right? The inner loop will, the outer loop will set the value of j 1 by 1 from the numbers 1 to 20. The outer loop will set the value of j 1 by 1 from the numbers 2 to 20. 2 to 20. Okay, the inner loop will take each and every number. So first it will take 2, check whether 2 is prime or not. Then it will take 4, then it will take 5, then it will take 6 and so on till 20 to check whether the numbers are prime or not. Okay, so once the inner loop breaks, it goes to the outer loop. Once the outer loop breaks, it comes to the immediate statement after while, which is just a print statement, which is saying prime numbers from 1 till 20. Okay, so this is how the nesting of the while happens. Okay, so this is the nesting for loop, wherein we just wanted to print something in a pattern. Okay, so this is the pattern that we wanted it. The pattern can be anything, but this is the pattern for which we have written the program. So here I want the pattern, the maximum number of asterisks over here are 5. So that's why I have given the range to be 1, 6. Okay, so this is for the new line. So print, I have given this for the new line. If you're not giving this print, it will not come in the next line. So everything, all the asterisks will come in the single line. So this print is given here to include the new line. Okay, so this is the inner loop. Okay, so first it will take for 1. Okay, so I will become 1 and it will enter inside this j, and j we are checking. Okay, so how many you want to print in the first line? In the first line you want to print only 1, so you're setting it to I is equal to 1. Okay, so j in I will be 1 only. So what it will do, it will print 1 asterisk for me over here, and then I have put some space over here. But the next time j will become 2 here, but 2 is not in the range of I, right? So I has not taken the value of 2 yet. So that's why j will become 2 and it is not in the range. So this inner loop will break and come to the outer loop again. So in the outer loop, what did we do? We have set the value of I now to 2. Okay, we have set the value of I to 2. So what happens? It goes into the, it checks whether I is in the range or not. Yes, of course, I is in the range because I value will iterate through the sequence of numbers from 1 to 5. Okay, end minus 1, right? So 1 to 5. So what will happen? So the condition is true. So it again enters into the loop. Now j will iterate through, okay, 1 and 2. Okay, so j will iterate through 1 and 2. So what it will do, for the first checking of the condition, it becomes true. So it will give the first asterisk, and then I have put a space over here, and then I have put the second asterisk. Okay, J has become 2. Now when J has become 3, it is out of the range, so the inner loop breaks and it goes to the outer loop. Now what happens again, I is set to 3 now. Okay, again the inner loop. Okay, so new line is taken and again it enters into the inner loop. Everybody understood this pattern or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, so the next concept is break statement. Okay, so we have two statements which are break and continue, which are widely used in the loops. Okay, so remember that you cannot use this break or continue outside a loop. Okay, if you are using this break or continue outside a loop, it will cause an error. So you will be thrown an error. So be careful that you are not making that mistake. So what is the purpose of break? The purpose of the break the break and continue is similar to the purpose that you have seen in your C programming. Okay, so it is just used for that. Now what will happen when there is a break encountered? Okay, so when there is a break encountered inside your program, so what happens is the nearest enclosing loop will terminate and the statement or the control comes to the immediate next statement after the while loop. Okay, so what happens in the break statement, whenever there is a break statement and your control encounters a break statement, your execution encounters a break statement, what will happen is it is used to terminate the execution of the nearest enclosing loop. Okay, so if there is a nesting of the loop, then the inner only will be broken, or it will exit from the inner only. So remember that. So this definition is very important. Break is used to terminate the execution of the nearest enclosing loop in which it appears. Okay, and the break statement in Python terminates the current loop and resumes execution at the next statement. Okay, so current loop ne aapesi, it will go to the immediate next statement after the while loop or for loop or whatever. Okay, so break is used in while and for loop, and the syntax is simply a break, which all are written in lowercase. It's a keyword. Okay, so break is a keyword. So now let us see an example inside a Python program wherein we are using the break statement. So this is an example. So just take a look at this particular example. So wherein we want to print the numbers. Actually, we said I is equal to 1, I is less than or equal to 10. Okay. So we want to print the numbers from I to 1 to 10. Okay. So we want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, so this is condition controlled loop. If you just observe it, this is a condition controlled loop. When I is equal to 6, we are saying break. Okay, so that's a concept over here. Okay, so and so what we have written inside the while loop, we have given the increment. We wanted to print the numbers. I wanted to print the numbers horizontally, so that's why I have given an end is equal to space. So end statement is used here. Instead of new lines, I just want the spaces and the output to be printed in horizontal. So I just have given this inside my print statement, and then there is an increment and all that. So initially I will be equal to 1. 1 is less than or equal to 10 is true. Then it comes, enters into the while loop, prints I value is 1. It puts a space and then goes to the increment I is equal to I plus 1. I becomes 2. 2 is less than or equal to 10. Condition is true. Enters, it prints 2. Then puts a space. Then increments I becomes 3. 3 is less than or equal to 10. Condition became false. So it enters, prints 3, put a space, and then increments I becomes 4. 4 is less than or equal to 10. Condition is true. Then puts 4, puts a space over there, and then increments I becomes 5. 5 is less than or equal to 10. Condition is true. Puts a 5, puts a space, and then I becomes increment I becomes 6. Okay, in the previous cases also the condition is checked. I is equal to 6, condition is checked, but it is false. Again it is checking. After increment it is checking. I is equal to 6. The condition is true. Okay, so when the condition is true, simply I said break. What will happen is it will come out of the immediate while loop. So here the while loop, there is only one while loop, and it comes out of the while loop, goes to the immediate next statement after the while. There is no statements after while, so the control exits. Okay, so now the program exits, printing 1 2 3 4 5 on the screen. Okay, so this is the purpose of the break statement. Okay, which is very very helpful. So in the previous cases, which is very very helpful, like for example in the previous case I said like you're checking whether the given number is prime or not. So in that case you don't need to you have to check for the numbers from 2 to n minus 1. Okay, so from 2 to n minus 1, if the number divides, it means it's not a prime number. So for example, say that the number is 100. Okay, you want to check whether the number 100 is prime or not. So what you will do, you will start checking whether 2 divides 100 or not. Then you will check whether 3 divides 100 or not. Then you have to check 4 divides 100 or not, 5 divides 100 or not, till 99 divides 100 or not. Okay, so when you know that, for example, 2 divides 100, is divides 100, and it gives me a reminder 0. So what is the purpose in continuing? Because there itself, when you are dividing it with the first number itself, with the first number itself, you came to know that it is not a prime number. Then what is the purpose in iterating through the loop till 99? So you're killing the time, right? You're increasing the execution time. So in that cases, you will be using the break statement. So break statement is a very, very useful statement, which actually will reduce the execution time. Okay, so whenever you want to come out of the loop, you don't want the iterations, you want to reduce the number of iterations based on some specific logic, then you will be using this break. So this break has to be used with care, and also it is a very, very useful statement. Okay, so what will happen, I have shown it in a diagram. Okay, so some syntactical form. So this is a while, that's what I have explained you in the previous program. Okay, so when there is a while, what inside the while there is a break. As I said, like break and continue need to be used only inside the loops. Okay, so if you are using outside the loop, they don't work. So I have used the break over here, and then I said statement X. Statement X is the immediate statement after your while. So the control comes over here. So when I say, and see here, after the break, there are some statements to be executed. It won't execute. Okay, so because there is a break, what will happen is immediately it will jump to the statement outside the while. Even that's the case with the for also. Okay, so the transfer control out of the for loop to the immediate statement next to the loop. Okay, so control comes over here. And what will happen if you are using it in the nested for? Okay, so when it is a nested for, so this all this is the block of the inner for. Okay, so this is the outer for statements. So what will happen when I use break in inside and the inner for, the control transfers to the outer for. Okay, transfers control out of the inner for. Okay, so all the statements, the rest of the iterations in the for will not happen. Okay, so this is what how it will behave in the nesting of the loops. Next is the continue statement. Okay, so continue statement also appears in the loop. Okay, and when a compiler encounters a continue, then rest of the statements in the loop are skipped, and the control is unconditionally transferred to the loop continuation portion of the nearest enclosing loop. I'll explain you, don't worry with the definition. So the syntax is the continue. Okay, so all the letters here are lowercase, and there is no semicolon, nothing. Okay, so you'll simply use a continue. Okay, so let me explain you what is meant by continue in this particular diagram. So this is a while loop. So inside the while loop, you are using a statement which is continue. And after this continue, there are certain statements inside the while block. Okay, so say that, for example, say that I is iterating, and I is iterating from 1 to 5. Okay, so I is iterating from 1 to 5, and it has already iterated 2 times. Okay, so 2 iterations are over, and it is in the third iteration. Okay, so say that it is in the third iteration. In the third iteration, what happens is this condition has evaluated to be true. Okay, so in the third iteration, for the first 2 iterations, the condition is false. So continue did not execute, and these statements executed, and then it went to the next iteration and all that. Now coming to the third iteration, what happened is this condition has evaluated to be true. Okay, when this condition has evaluated to be true, what happened is this continue executes. Now when this continue executes, as you're seeing, there are certain statements over here, right? So there are certain statements here. Okay, so these are the statements after this if block. These statements will not execute, and what will happen is this third iteration will stop and the control will go for the next iteration. Okay, so the next iteration, it will check whether this particular 4 is condition is okay or not. If the condition is okay, then it will execute the next iteration, else it will come to the statement X. Okay, so what is the point over here is it will skip the current iteration and go to the next iteration. Okay, so if I just have to give it in a simple statement, if I just have to give it in a simple statement, I'll say that the current iteration is skipped and then the control goes to the next iteration. Okay, so that's what will happen in continue, but this is not the case in with break. Okay, so these are some of the viva questions, like what's the difference between exit control loop and entry control loop, pre-test and post-test, and also what's the difference between while and for, and what's the difference between break and continue. Okay, so these are because they use for the same purpose inside the loops, and they quite look similar, but they have got different functionalities. Okay, so break will bring the control completely out of the loop. Okay, and continue will actually skip the current iteration and go to the next iteration. So that's the same case in the for also. Okay, so it goes to the next iteration, right? Okay, so inside this one in the nested loop also the same case. Okay, so it goes, even if it is the in the inner loop, it will, the control will skip all these statements and go to the next iteration of the inner loop. Okay, so that's what will happen here. So let us see a program wherein we are using continue. Okay, so here in I am printing the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, so I'm printing the numbers from 1 to 10. I have given the increment and decrement increment operation over here. So I said I is equal to I plus 1. And then I said if I is equal to 5, then I'm saying continue. So what will happen initially? So we'll try to check this program for the output. Okay, so how the output is got, we'll check. Okay, so the first thing is I have initialized I is equal to 0. So I is equal to 0 and 0 is less than or equal to 9. So the condition is true. So what happens? It enters and I becomes 1. Okay, so after I becomes 1, it checks for the condition 1 is equal to 5. Okay, so 1 is equal to 5 is false. So what happens? This continue will not execute. Okay, it goes to the immediate next statement and prints the value of I. The value of I is 1 and then a space, and then it goes for the next iteration. Okay, so for the next iteration, what it will do, it will check whether 1 is less than or equal to 9. Okay, so 1 is less than or equal to 9 is true. Now what happens? I has become 2 now. Okay, in the similar way, what will happen now? 2 is printed on the screen and 3 is printed. For every time I is incremented, the next statement is I is equal to 5. It checks for this condition. This condition is becoming false all the time. Okay, so 4, it became 4. Again, 4 is equal to 5 is false. So it will print the number on the screen. And what happens when I becomes 5? When I becomes 5, what happens is 5 is equal to 5. This condition has evaluated to be true. When this condition became true, the control comes to the continue statement. Whenever it encounters this continue statement, all the statements below it will not execute. So printing of this particular I will not execute and the control will go to the next iteration. Okay, so the control will go to the next iteration. So in the next iteration, it will check for 5 is less than or equal to 9, condition is true, and then we have put an increment operator where I is becoming 6. So now 6 is equal to 5 is false, so it is printing the numbers. So that's why I have put this in red color to show you that I have put it in red color to show you that 5 is not printed. Okay, 5 is not printed. Why 5 is not printed? 5 is not printed because we said continue. Okay, so we wrote a condition and we said continue. That's why 5 is not printed. Okay, so this is the purpose of a continuous statement. Now we'll see what is the purpose of the pass statement. Okay, so pass statement is no operation statement or a placeholder or a null statement. We also call it as a null statement. So these are all the things like we call. Okay, so what is a pass statement? And what is a pass statement? Pass statement is a NOP. And what is NOP? NOP is no operation statement. Or sometimes we also call it as placeholder, or sometimes we also call it as the null statement. Okay, so what is the purpose of this particular pass statement? Okay, I mean, whenever you want something to be there syntactically, but you don't want it to execute. Okay, so then do nothing statement. Okay, so pass is a do nothing statement, but it is just used as a space filler. Now, what's the difference between comments? Okay, so we do have a concept like comments. Comments also, I mean, they are also do nothing statements, right? They are just there to increase the readability of the code. Comments are ignored by the interpreter. This is a very, very important interview question and Viva question. What's the difference between comment and pass? Okay, comments are ignored by the interpreter, whereas pass is executed. ఓకే, సో పాస్ ఈజ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటెడ్ అంటే టైం అయితే నీకు పాస్ స్టేట్మెంట్ కిల్ చేస్తుంది. అంటే ఇప్పుడు నేను ఎవరినైనా క్వశ్చన్ అడిగాను అనుకోండి, ఆ అమ్మాయి ఆన్సర్ చేయకుండా మైక్ ఆన్ చేసి ఆన్సర్ చేస్తున్నట్టు అట్లా చేస్తుంది అనుకోండి, ఆన్సర్ అయితే రాలేదు నాకు, బట్ వాట్ ఈస్ హ్యాపెనింగ్, టైం అయితే కిల్ అవుతుంది నాకు. ఓకే, సో అలా ఉంటుంది. పాస్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ నేను 4-5 పాస్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ ఇచ్చినా కూడా వాట్ విల్ హ్యాపెన్ ఈజ్ ఆల్ దట్ పాస్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ విల్ బి ఎగ్జిక్యూటెడ్. టైం అయితే తీసుకుంటుంది స్టేట్మెంట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ కి, but nothing will happen. Okay, so it's like generally these pass statements are used in assembly programming languages. In assembly programming languages, this kind of pass statements are used for developing delays. Okay, so to create delays they are generally used. Okay, so they actually kill time. But the difference between comments and pass is that comments are ignored, so they are not executed at all by the interpreter, but pass statement is executed. I hope everybody understood the difference between what is comment and pass.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, so the syntax of pass is simply a pass where this is a keyword and all the letters are in lowercase. Okay, so everything is in lowercase. Now let us see how pass is put in a program. Okay, so this is a program wherein I just have written pass, that's it. It's syntactically correct. Okay, but this will execute, maybe it is just taking some nanoseconds, and it is printing all that I have given in sequence over here on the output for me. Okay, so this is what is called as pass statement. Okay, sometimes what happens is I cannot have an if block without the body of the if. Okay, and I didn't decide, like I'm writing a very big program and I know that this condition exists, but the statements to write inside the condition I don't know. Okay, so in that case I cannot simply write if b greater than a without this pass and just leave it off. Okay, so that is syntactically wrong. Okay, so when you have something like this, then what you will do is you will be just writing a pass over here. Okay, so this will be considered as the block of if, and this will not generate any errors for you. Okay, so that's why the output will be nothing, there will be no errors, nothing. But if you are taking off this pass, then you will get an error. Okay, so this is another use of error. This is another use of pass statement. So that's what I have written over here. Suppose we have a loop or a function that is not implemented yet, but we want to implement it in the future. As of now, I don't know what will be there in the body of the if. Okay, so I wanted to keep an empty body. Okay, so in that case, the interpreter will give me an error, because I have to write. I cannot keep the body of a loop or body of a function as empty. So in that cases, when you want to represent an empty body, you can just simply put a pass over there. Okay, so if I just write a statement like this for I and Sudha, and I didn't write anything here as the body of the fur, then this kind of error will be executed. So it will say syntax error and it will not give me any output. Okay, but when I have written just pass over here, what will happen is there won't be anything. I won't get any error. So this is the difference. Okay, by putting pass and by simply leaving it. If you simply leave it without any body, then you'll get an error. Okay, so this is the last topic of your first part of your second unit. So the else statement used with the loops. Okay, so in Python, else statement can be associated with loops. Okay, and it can also be associated with while. Okay, so here what happens is even if this is true or false, the while will execute for sure. Okay, so this is the first statement, and you can also have an else over here. But in C programming and all, this is a difference. In C, you cannot associate else with for and all that. Okay, but here you can associate for and else. Okay, if there is an else in C programming, it should be preceded by a if only. Okay, so that is actually the connection. You can have if without an else, but you cannot have an else without if in C programming, right? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but yeah, but here the point is like you can have an else without an if, but the prior to that, okay, preceding to that, you can have a for or while. Okay, so something it need to have. It need to have either if, or it can have a for, or it can have a while. Okay, right. So coming to this particular concept, so I am printing the numbers from 0 to 2. Okay, so I'm just printing, and even if this is true or false, okay, for okay, so it will just execute the numbers in the range. After that, it will execute the else. Okay, else is also executed, and after else, the immediate next statement after the else is executed. Okay, so you might not find it very useful in the program that I have shown you, but maybe for some applications that you are developing, maybe this kind of syntax will help you. Okay, so in the example that I'm showing you here on the screen, you might not find it useful. Like this program might not be the correct example of for and else. Okay, but why I have put this over here is to show you the syntax of how to accompany else with for, and I am showing you what is the path of execution. Okay, so what will happen, what will execute and what not will execute. So to show you only this program is there, even if it doesn't make any sense. Okay, right. Now the next case is like else associated with loops. Okay, so in this case what happened is like we are saying enter the value of I. Okay, so in the first case I have entered -1. Hey, what are you doing there? Okay, ma. So what did I do here? I have written and I'm asking the user. I'm prompting the user to give the value of I. So say for example, I have shown you two outputs over here because true and false. Depending on that, the else will execute here. So in the first case, say I have given I to be -1. Okay. So I have given I to be -1, and the condition is like -1 is less than 0. As the condition is true. Okay, so when the condition is true, it enters into the while loop and prints the number for me. Okay, so I is printed over here, so which is -1, and then I gets incremented. Okay, so -1 will become 0, and what will happen is this while loop will break. After the while loop is broken, what happens? This is executing. Okay, so it is saying 0 is not negative, so while didn't execute, so even this else is executing over here for me, and then the immediate next statement after else is executing. Okay, so now say that while for the while I have given I is equal to 5. Okay, so 5 is less than 0, it is false. So when it is false, even then the else is executing over here. Okay, so else will execute with irrespective of whether it is true or false. Okay, so this is what is how you can accompany else with while. Okay, fine. you all the if else and all that 5 kinds of branching. I have shown you the looping constructs, the iterative statements while and for. And we also have seen the nested loops, and we have seen break, continue, and pass statements, and then we have seen else and how else is used with loops with combinations. So the first part of the second unit is over.